Okay, well, good evening, everyone. Thank you all for coming. I really appreciate your time this evening. Tonight, we're going to discuss the Bring Your Own Device pilot. It's great to see so many of you here to contribute tonight and to share where we're moving forward with this. Just as a bit of background, really, you'll all know as a school that we really have invested heavily in ensuring that we have a rich range of technology to support learning across all of our campus sites. We really believe that technology has the power to engage, innovate and inspire learning. We've seen this in many different examples, both from the work that's happening here at Osprey Quay and at Southwell campus, to the work we're seeing at Royal Manor. And we believe it's not just about giving children technology, it's about linking it with a wider vision of empowering children to be better collaborators, more engaged in their learning through the effective use of technology. There's many schools in America that believe just putting a child in front of a computer will make them better learners. We certainly don't believe that. We believe that it comes as part of a bigger package. And we're really pleased that we're starting to see the impact of that through lots of different things that we're doing at IPACA. We believe that effective use of technology leads to enhanced progress, attainment and enjoyment in learning. And I hope that you'll feel that your children are benefiting from having that experience here at Osprey Quay campus. And just as an example of that, really, I'm sure some of you have seen this film before, but I'd like to just share this video that Google put together last year, and we're very pleased about the partnership that we have with some of the world's biggest companies. I went to Google recently for a visit, and I was introduced to people as the man from the most googly school in the UK, which is a nice kind of introduction when you're in Google's head office. And that's for lots of reasons. It's about the embracement of the Chromebook technology, the use of Google Apps for Education, which is used extensively throughout the Academy, both to support learning and to support the administration of the Academy. And we also have strong partnerships with BT, Samsung and European Electronic, which we might touch on a little bit later this evening. But this video was the first video made of any school in Europe, the Middle East or Africa by Google, so it was quite a significant thing to happen, and I'm just going to share this with you all now. We serve an island community here at IPACA. We have a number of students that come from real tough backgrounds, and we're here to support and encourage all of our students. We believe that technology can engage, innovate and inspire our pupils, and the Chromebook platform allowed us to do that.
It's made it much easier and fun to learn. It makes people want to come to school.
We work in a stage, not age approach to education, with a really clear vision of providing outstanding learning for children from age 3 right through to 19.
We've seen a massive amount of differences in the children since they've had their Chromebooks. They can share the same things really easily, they can access their learning in any way they want to.
We're seeing this fusion of technology with traditional methods to provide a much more collaborative platform.
We can just put it up on the screen and suddenly you've got the work there, you can have a conversation about it.
When the whole class is working together and collaborating on one spreadsheet, it's so much faster to get the experiment done.
It's changing the way students work and actually giving them more responsibility.
It's made them feel really valued and respected.
We see a great difference from students being able to engage with their teachers, being able to engage with their peers. They seem happier, more comfortable, more confident.
The fact that we've gone one-to-one Chromebook means that learning doesn't stop at 3:20.
I'm able to carry on with my work, I can get my grades higher.
We've seen a 15% rise in the students achieving 5 A-star to C grades, including English and Maths. Our next step is to introduce tablets for education, and we're really excited to see how these can be used alongside the Chromebooks.
By taking on Chromebooks, I think they're learning in such an exciting way. It's going to be a fantastic generation to watch, and I'm really excited to be involved with those children.
So that was just a really exciting thing. I'm sure you'll agree that that happened, and it represents where we are as a school. We have embraced technology. We are using it in exciting and engaging ways with lots of different ages of children. And very much tonight we're talking about a new chapter, really, a new phase in that journey of exciting engagement. And it's very easy to look at why we're doing this in some respect, because we can look at the world around us, and if we look at the retail sector, so I'm told you can go into Marks and Spencer's now and you can use a large digital display to order clothes. You know, if they haven't got them in store, you can go up to a device inside the store and order something. This is the retail world responding to the world that's changing around them. They know that a lot of people shop online now and like to find a bargain, access things in a different way, and they're bringing their experience into their stores so they can keep hold of their customers. And when somebody sees this device, they don't go, oh, what operating system is it running? Is it an Android device? Is it an iPad? Is it some sort of Windows device? They just instantly go up and use it. And I can assure you, your children feel exactly the same about technology. Whenever they see technology, they want to go up and they want to use it, they want to explore it. You probably know this from your own experience of having a mobile phone and your child not really being that concerned what it is, just wanting to get on it and do things with it. And we want to harness that. We want to harness that power for good. And the example in Marks & Spencer's is not the only example. This is a Topshop augmented reality mirror where people can try out different combinations of clothes without actually having the hassle of trying them on. And people may not see that as a hassle. I can see from the faces that people may not necessarily see that as a hassle, but this is new technology transforming spaces. And I'm sure, I'm not going to ask for a show of hands tonight because I'm sure there'll be, tens of hands here that say, how many of you have done this in a shop? Scanned a barcode on something to see if you can get it cheaper online. We do this a lot with DVDs and CDs that, the actual quality of the product is, what you're going to get if you order it from online. So people scan things, they find them cheaper. The way that we're interacting with the world is changing. No longer are we just shopping in local or, regional shops. We're getting products from all around the world, and that is changing. Yet, for many, the experience in school is still very much that which I see as the 1920s model, putting people in rows of desks and accessing technology in a very confined way. And I go and do some different conference speaking and often show this image of an ICT suite, and we're very fortunate that none of our primary campuses now have primary ICT suites because we've moved away from this model of accessing technology. In some schools, they still have ICT suites, and they're rooms that are locked away from children, that children can only go and access ICT once a week. It's a reward that on a Thursday afternoon they might get half an hour where they go down to the ICT suite and get to go on a website. Our approach to technology is very different in IPACA, and we're not ashamed of that. We're proud of that fact that we have taken a much more progressive stance. We believe that technology should be there all the time for children to use when and if appropriate, and we feel it's a very important part of our role to teach your children how to access it appropriately. Both in terms of the time that they spend on the devices, the websites that they access, the way that they use different tools to support their learning. We want to use things when it's suitable for them. So, the proposal that we have to present to you tonight really is one that has been led by your children. Your children are all fantastic. They're all very much 21st century learners, and they are that because they've benefited from having the time in this fabulous new campus and from having the rich range of resources that they have. And they have a deep desire to make better use of technology and have a greater access to technology. So we're proposing that from January 2015, this coming January, in West Space and West Space 2, so the room that we're in now and the room next door, that children are able to BYOD, which stands for Bring Your Own Device. And just to give you a bit of a rationale really on why we've chosen these two areas, it's simply because the children and the staff in these areas have come to me as Director of Digital Learning and Innovation and to my colleagues in IT support and asked for it. It's not something that's exclusive to this campus, but it is open to others if they feel it's something they want. So we're taking it to you tonight to present to you as an option for your children, and I think that's a really important part of the message that I'd like to share with you tonight. This is an optional program. Your children, you do not have to buy into this program. You do not have to opt for your child to bring their own device. The same number of devices that are in this room now, in here where we are now, we've got 30 Chromebooks and 30 iPads for the 90 students that are in this space. And next door, where we've got 35 students, we've got 15, 16 laptops and 8 iPads. So we've got a very rich supply already of devices here. But we're not going to take any of those away for this program. It doesn't matter if all 120 students decide that they want to bring devices. We're still going to keep the existing provision here for them so they can access. This is really an enhancement. This is an opportunity for them to bring in their devices and use them to support their learning at a level that meets where they are. So like I said, this is an optional program, and all we're really asking from you is that if you want to take part in this, if you want to opt in, that you think about a device that you can send your child in that has a web browser. So when I say a web browser, I'm talking Internet Explorer, Chrome, Safari, Opera. I'm sure there's many Miss Heifer here could name as well. Firefox, different web browser. And the reason why we say a web browser is because as an academy over the last 2 years, we've worked really hard, both with our staff, both with our pupils and our suppliers, working closely with European Electronic and Samsung and BT and Google to deliver an IT solution that is browser-based. That means everything your child needs to access to support their learning can be accessed through a web browser. We did this for lots of reasons. We did it because it saves on our infrastructure costs. It means that we don't have to buy so many servers and so many switches and routers, and we can focus on putting the money that we spend on IT into devices, into children's hands, which you've seen through the rich provision here and at Southwell campus and the one-to-one program at Royal Manor campus with Google Chromebooks. We did it because we want every single resource that we use in school to be used at home as well. So your children would have benefited from the use of Mathletics, from the use of Purple Mash. You may not have seen, but as a school we use a cloud-based management information system, which means that all of our registers are taken through a web browser. Soon you'll be able to access all your children's library records through a web browser. So we're pushing our experience into a place that's fully online through a web browser to best support learning, because we know that children spend far more time at home than they do at school. It may not seem like that at times, but they do. Statistically, they spend more time at home with you than at school. And we don't see why we should be investing in resources that they can't access at home. So that's the model that we're moving towards and making most of that moving forward. So I just want to talk to you a little bit more about devices now. I said just then that it had to be a device with a web browser. There's a few other points that we would really recommend, and that's that first, obviously, like I said, the web browser has to be there. And we'd also encourage you that if you have a device in mind that your child might bring in that supports 3G, so it may be a mobile phone or a tablet with a 3G card in, or that you can get netbooks and laptops that have 3G connectivity as well, we'd really encourage you to disable that feature, because we want to provide your child with safe, filtered internet access while they're using their devices in the academy. And the only way that we can achieve that is by them going into our Wi-Fi network rather than going out through a separate cellular connection. Now, you may not know how to disable the 3G, and we'd like to help you with that. So if you know that your child is going to bring a device in that is 3G enabled, there's a couple of things you can do. The first is if it's a device that has a removable SIM card, you can simply remove that SIM card. If it's a device that has it built in, which is very few out there, but if it is a device that has one built in, we can work with you and IT support to secure the features down and lock that functionality down. You may also want that functionality to be included for other purposes, and that would need to be an individual discussion that we'd have with you. I mentioned filtering. At IPACA, we have made huge leaps in our use of filtering in the last 2 years. We previously used a Southwest Grid for Learning filter, which was very restrictive and didn't allow any form of intelligence on what the students were using. This would mean that if we filtered it for a 16-year-old, it would also have to be filtered for an 8-year-old, which isn't always appropriate. We've now moved to a 21st century solution that, again, is cloud-based. When I say cloud, I mean that it's not hosted at IPACA, it's hosted at a data center. It's actually hosted in Ireland, which is fairly irrelevant, but there we are. And our service means that we can provide filtering when we're off-site as well as on-site. That's been really handy with our use of the Chromebook platform, and it means that if a student signs in to Google Chrome with their IPACA email address and password, they will instantly be filtered on their use on their device. And we want that to be the case when they're on their bring your own devices as well, which will happen. Any device that's on the Academy Wi-Fi will be filtered. And we're working very closely with our filtering provider Securely to provide the very best solution, which I'm very excited to say that now includes an opportunity from January to support parent monitoring. Parent monitoring is a completely world first from Securely, and it will enable you to see the activity your child's doing on their login when they are at school or at home, and you'll be able to track their internet activity. This is a free service that Securely are guaranteeing for at least a year, so we're going to give it a trial as a school. And as you are involved in the BYOD pilot, we'd really like to engage you in this work as well, because we feel it's a really important thing that you know what your children are doing at school. You know, if like me, you know, I have children at school and they'll come home and say, "What have you done today?" and they'll say nothing. You know, if you can see that they've been searching for King Henry VIII or Anne Boleyn, you'll know that they've been looking at the Tudors, and you can start developing those discussions. Equally, you can set notifications of things that may concern you. So issues around bullying or social media, you can have access to the tools that we can see are the sites that they're on. And this is a tool that we're developing with Securely and is very much a pilot, but I've got a short video to share with you now.
Your child's school is replacing textbooks with Chromebooks and iPads. But do you know how your kids are using these devices? Securely for Parents is the first product to give you a bird's eye view of your child's life online. Our weekly reports help you answer questions like, where's your child spending time online? What is he searching for? How is she using social networks? And who is she talking to? And how often? Securely also uses advanced algorithms to alert you of any suspicious behavior. We are already serving hundreds of thousands of kids worldwide. Simply sign up for an account on securely.com to get started today.
So that's something that we'll, come January, we'll tell you more about and get you access to in terms of helping you see what your child's doing on the device that you're bringing in, or any of the devices that we have in school. It'll be particularly when they're on the Chromebooks rather than the iPads, as they're shared devices. But it's just an interesting feature. It just proves how we're continuously moving forward and looking at ways that we can better support learning as an academy. I mentioned them earlier on, a company called European Electronic. European Electronic are IPACA's preferred IT supplier. We've worked with them on the delivery of Osprey Key Campus, so all of the kit that you see here was purchased through European Electronic. And we were very excited to share our Bring Your Own Device plans with European Electronic and seek their support in helping us develop the program with you. And as I've said already, your child, if they wish to take part in the BYOD pilot, can bring in any device they like, as long as it has a web browser. That may be a device that you have at home, or a previous device that you've used as a family that may be put in a drawer now because you're using more modern tech. Or it may be that you're thinking now, with the run-up to Christmas, that you would like to purchase a device for this program. And we have partnered with European Electronic to provide some preferential pricing to you as parents. Now, I would like to reiterate again, this is not saying you have to buy your BYOD device through European Electronic. The school is making no profit from working with European Electronic on this. They're just using our relationship both with Samsung UK, who are one of our big supporters here at the Academy, and Google to harness some good pricing on some devices. And we've got 3 options for you that you'll find cheaper than anywhere else.
I just want to say on that note as well, we've had a lot of parents come to us saying, can you advise us what might be a good thing? I'm thinking of buying a device, and we wanted to follow that lead from the parents and say, well, here are some suggestions if you want it, because I know it's a minefield for some people.
Exactly right. And I think, you know, we were hoping to have Tesco here this evening to share their new Huddle product. The Huddle is an Android-based tablet, and you know, one that we can recommend as being a good solution for you to buy. There are other options other than the 3 we're going to show you now, but it's exactly that. You know, parents have made the suggestion to Miss Heppel that they would like a bit of a steer on things that they could go and get, and so here's 3 options that may be useful for you. The Samsung Galaxy Tab. European Electronic are able to get those for you for £153. You'll probably find those about the cheapest online for £170, so you can see there's a £20 saving there. The Samsung Galaxy Tab 4 is a tablet that runs the Android operating system. It's a 7-inch tablet, so it's one of the smaller ones, but it would serve students really well. Has a camera, full USB connection and Bluetooth as well, so equally useful. But critically, obviously, all the devices that we're showing you has that web browser functionality, which is so important and what we're looking to. Another option, if you prefer a larger tablet, is the Samsung Galaxy Tab 4, which is a 10-inch tablet. Again, European Electronic have been able to get some preferential pricing here. This has an 8-megapixel rear camera, so a very high resolution back camera, and a 2.1 megapixel front camera. My understanding is that both Galaxy 4 tablets come with Gorilla Glass, which is a more robust form of screen, which may be useful. It comes in at $256.80. All three of these prices that we're showing with you are current prices. European Electronic is continuing to work hard with Samsung to reduce the cost of these. They will be launching an online IPACA shop in the next couple of days, which we will text you all the link to and send you a letter with it in as well. That shop will have the final pricing on which we're hoping will be a little bit lower, but we're working hard to achieve that. The final option is a Samsung Chromebook that our Royal Manor students use. So we give these out to every student from Year 7 to Year 13 now. We have a sixth form centre. This is a great device. I would say that I bought 800 of them last year. A great device that just has a web browser, has nothing else on it. So you can kind of see the emphasis on the cloud-based infrastructure that we went for. It has a good 7-hour battery life, which is great for use all day in school. It's very light, easy to put in a bag and carry back and forth. From our experience at Royal Manor, we'd encourage you to get a padded case to use with the Chromebook devices, because we found that screens can be a little bit temperamental is a good word to use, but for incredible price for what is essentially a laptop. £177 is a great price that we can get those in for you, if that's an option. Just like to reiterate again, though, that they're just 3 options that we can provide you. There are thousands of options out there. If you'd like any advice or support on picking a device, Miss Heppel or myself would happily discuss that with you, or a member of IT support can give you further technical information. If you want advice, then please just come and speak with us, and we'd happily talk through and explore options with you. There's great potential out there. If you are getting a device that supports apps, so maybe an Android tablet or an iOS tablet, there's a few things that you might want to install. These are things that are all accessible online anyway, so you don't necessarily have to have an apps-based device, because again, we said about the web browser. But if you're using apps, we encourage you to install Google Drive. Many of our students use Google Drive to create documents, presentations, share work. It's a general tool of choice at Royal Manor campus. We use Accelerated Reader as our reading support tool, and students can download the Accelerated Reader app, and that's available. All of these apps are available for Android devices, for iOS devices, so that's iPads, iPods and iPhones, and for BlackBerry and Windows devices as well. So these apps are all available. Mathletics, which I'm sure you've heard a lot about from your children, download the Mathletics app would be great. Pick Collage app we use extensively and is a great tool, and also the Gmail app, of course.
All those apps are free of charge.
All of those apps are free of charge, without a doubt. We always place a big emphasis on making sure that the tools that we use generically across the academy are free to use and access, because we want them to be using them at home.
And we use most of those apps on a daily basis in Westbase and Westbase 2 as well.
Fantastic. And so just the final kind of tips really in terms of us thinking, and this is kind of where we'd like to open the floor to a bit of discussion in a minute, because we see this very much as a pilot. This is something we want to work with you on. We believe that the success of this will be through an active partnership between home and school. Talking about which devices we use, talking about how we can use them effectively, developing rules of how they can be used to support learning both at home and school. We don't want this to be a one-way thing. We want this to be a two-way project. And we had a sort of little brainstorm the other night, Miss Heppel, and came up with a few ideas of tips and tricks and advice that we would give you as parents. One would be to ensure the device is fully charged each night. There's lots of plugs in the floor and the walls here at Osprey Key, but you may not want to transport the charger back and forth all the time. So if you can charge it at home and then bring it in each day and use it, it's a lot easier than having to charge it while you're at school. We really encourage you to make sure your device is clearly labelled, whether that's through stickers or a permanent marker, or through other techniques. You can buy security stickers with your name on, different things like that. So whatever you feel is an appropriate means of clearly identifying what that device is. I mentioned it earlier around the Chromebooks, and going back to Chromebooks, where we see the biggest number of breakages at Royal Manor campus is not when the devices are out and being used in class, it's through the transportation of devices back and forth from school, on a bus, bags being thrown on the floor. So we'd really encourage you to think with your child about how you can best support the movement of the child's device between home and school. That may be ensuring that they understand how to hold the device properly. So if it's a laptop, not holding it by the screen and wangling it, like it's, I don't know what. But if it's a tablet, making sure that sharp objects are not pointing onto it in a bag. Having these discussions with your children early on are developing great life skills for them moving forward. Know that they'll be, making sure that, things that are really obvious to us, like making sure your drink's not in the bag, really need to be pointed out and highlighted and developed with them. And we'll all learn by making mistakes, but we don't want that. We don't want those mistakes to be made when you've just spent out so much money on the device. So talk to them a lot about how they're going to store it. They will have safe storage when they're here, in the sense they can come and put them in their trays in the classroom. Those trays are obviously transparent in terms of clear vision into them, and are very secure in the sense that they're flat, and only your child should be going into that tray. We do encourage you to insure your devices on your home insurance against accidental damage. The school will not be liable for breakages in school. That has to be a position we take as a school. That's what schools do when they introduce BYOD, and we're going to explore a couple of examples in a minute of other schools that have done this. But just have those discussions early on with your children about how they can protect the device. What will happen if it breaks? Who is responsible for ensuring that it's taken out the bag when you get home in the evenings? Having those discussions early on with your children, because it'd be so common after a long day in school to come in and throw your bag on the floor and forget there's a device in there that may break. So having those kind of discussions very early on are going to be really important to ensuring the success of this in the long term. Now, I did mention there we've got some examples. The two examples we've got are both from America. No reason in particular why they're from America. I just thought they were nice videos to share with you tonight. And these are schools that have adopted BYOD as a way to support learning.
For years now, there's been a love-hate relationship between schools and technology, embracing traditional digital tools like PCs and Macs, while scorning those that often distract kids from their work, like game systems. Now, one Georgia school district is changing that equation by inviting kids to bring their own devices. More now from our chief education correspondent, Rahima Ellis.
Less than 2 years ago, Forsyth County School District, which is just outside of Atlanta, began a new technology program in 7 of its schools. Now, all 35 are participating in what one organizer thinks could be the next big thing in education.
Clickers in Ohio, iPads in Kentucky, e-books in Texas, tablets in New Jersey. The technology trend in education has gone viral.
Quickly, just do your first name.
Now, one district in Georgia is taking it to another level. Not just incorporating electronics, but encouraging students to bring their own. It's called BYOT.
BYOD stands for Bring Your Own Technology. We're taking away the banning and the blocking, and instead trying to help guide students in the appropriate and responsible ways to use their devices.
iPhone 4S, a Kindle Fire, Nintendo, because it's fun.
Using their devices, students research, do assignments, create instructional videos, and even quiz themselves.
It's been amazing because all the teachers say, oh wow, I can actually do this, and they're also learning with us.
Unlike the students, some teachers were not as quick to sign on.
Honestly, I was terrified. I thought my role was
give them all the knowledge that I've got about something. Now I realize that's not my job at all. My job is to point them in the right direction, give them the tools that they need, and wow, they can do so much more than that textbook.
The benefits go beyond the world of information at students' fingertips.
Before, I was really shy. I never wanted to be called on in class. And now it's better because I can just do things with my device.
So you're going to be the IT guy at home. Yes. Keep all this stuff working. Yes. There have been concerns among parents, including the Hendricksons, who now support the program.
My concern was that there was going to be a lot of texting each other, texting friends. The teachers are very good about catching you when you're texting. They got the eye for it now.
Still, some wonder if programs like this could create an electronic overload.
There's always a place for pen and paper. You take the best of both things, the old and the new.
So you've become a believer about bring your own technology.
Oh, absolutely.
Are you glad Dad's a believer?
Yes. The district says it has devices for students who don't have their own, and measures in place to safeguard those brought to school. Not everyone is on board, but organizers say the program is going well. In fact, schools here have been contacted by educators in other districts, states, and even countries who want to see BYOD in action.
Graham Ellis in Atlanta for us tonight.
So that was just one example of a school, not only a school, but a whole district of 32 schools that had adopted this, obviously given it a slightly different name out there, but you know, the same principles apply. I loved in that video the different devices that were in the room and the excitement that caused. You know, the use of the Kindle Fire, the Nintendo DS. There was all sorts, mobile phones, old laptops, you know, just being used to support learning. And I thought it was really nice to hear from a parent who was initially quite sceptical that had seen the benefit of it had on his child, basically. And I thought that was really positive. And the fact that he made note of that this isn't just technology, it's a blending of the traditional and the new, which we see so much in the world around us now.
I think if you come into Westbase when the children are working, you'll always see a mixture of both, because that's the world we live in.
Exactly, and that's what we anticipate moving forward. We don't anticipate the students to be sat on their BYODs all the time. We anticipate them using it for when it best supports their learning and having that access to the tools that they use at home.
Yeah, just another comment on that, something I don't think we've touched on that came up in the video, is just to reassure parents that the technology the children will bring in will only ever be used by them. It's not something they don't have to share this with the rest of the class. So when if you choose to allow your child to come in with a device, they will be the only ones who use it. It's not a device to add to.
It's not going to be a shared device. It is a one-to-one use of a device that will only be used by them for them, and that is really important. It turns out I shared example 2 before sharing example 1 with you. Obviously got overexcited on that one, so let me share example 1 with you.
I want to thank everybody for their support of our BYOD initiative. It's been very exciting to see all the different devices and products that have been created here at Colleyville Middle School. And it's been very exciting to see the different devices, everything from iPads to laptops to Kindles to Surfaces, and the way that the students are using them both within their classroom and during the school day.
We've seen some great collaboration with students since they're bringing all kinds of different devices when they work in a group. One student may have an iPad, which is good for taking a picture and uploading it to their Google Drive, while another student might have a laptop, which they can type more easily on. So we've heard some great discussions among the students talking about the strengths and weaknesses of the different devices.
I like that I can bring my own device and take it anywhere and have all my apps and everything all stored on one device, and not have to sign out all the time or have accidentally any of my works deleted or anything like that. It's just all here, ready for me to keep it. And I don't have to worry about saving it to a flash drive and saving it to my desktop. It's easier for me to see, and then you can highlight if you are cut off in class. You can highlight where you stop. I plan on saving my files on here. If I have a paper that's due next day, I'll save it on there. It belongs to you, and you don't have to worry about other people getting on it and messing things up. It's just better that I know I have it with me and I can pull
Colleyville Middle School has done an excellent job of a school-wide digital citizenship program where the students talk about appropriate use of technology and how important that is.
One of the things I want parents and kids to remember is that the technology is simply a tool. About a month ago, I heard a wonderful speaker at a conference that I attended. And the story that he told was of his family taking various road trips. And one of the road trips they were on was about an 18-hour road trip. And as he looked in the backseat, his 3 kids were on their iPad, watching a movie, listening to different music, etc. And as the kids began fussing at themselves, he kind of came to that moment where he thought about turning around and saying, "You guys have no idea what road trips used to be like when we were kids." And he kind of came to the realization that the end result on a road trip is to get from point A to point B, where in education, our end result is also to get from point A to point B in educating our students. But what has changed is the different tools that we're using.
Allowing the rest of the student body to bring their own devices just provides us another opportunity to leverage the technology that the students already have available to them so they can practice those 21st century skills as much as possible.
And you'll find lots of examples online of other places that are doing this, and it's good for us to see other places that are doing this, but it's important to highlight that we're doing this because our children have pointed it out as something that they want to try and embrace, and also the teachers here in Osprey Key have come to me asking for this, which is really key. I am going to open the floor up to questions. Before I do that, I am going to stop the video because I know people get a bit self-conscious on asking questions, so I'm just going to stop the video here. Thank you for those people that are watching online. If you've got questions and you want to come and speak to me about them, please do. My email address is gspracklin@ipaca.org.uk, or come and talk to your teachers in class. Come and talk to Miss Heppel. He will gladly talk you through some of the questions that come up tonight. Thank you.